Chapter 30 The Club. Disneyland was built by Mr. Walt Disney in the mid-1950s, and it was an exciting new idea and very popular because it got into people's imaginations. There was Fantasyland, Tomorrowland, and Adventureland. In the 1960s, on Saturday evenings at 6:30 on Channel 7, everyone watched Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Colour. It was never missed by anyone. It was very popular. Peter, Vula, and Jimmy came running into the lounge room to watch the television when they heard the show's song, "When I wish upon a star." They loved watching Disney movies, and Mickey Mouse and his friends were popular too. There was even a Mickey Mouse Club in the United States. Watching Disney movies was the start of Vula's love for movies and watching some great adventures. The four Haddis kids, Vula and her two brothers, sometimes watched together, but most of the time they didn't watch TV because they were too busy doing things together. It was on Disneyland's Tomorrowland that Peter first saw a monorail, and he was very excited to see it. That is when he decided to build his own monorail by using his broken billy cart. They had hung it on the back plum tree, as you read in chapter 22. One day on TV, they saw something about the Scouts for boys, Girl Guides for girls, and Brownies for little girls, and it made them wish they could be in a club like that too. Of course, some of their school friends were Boy Scouts and Girl Brownies too, but Argiro and Theo were not comfortable about their kids joining Aussie clubs because of the different culture. They didn't know it was begun by Christian churches to help children develop upright morals and experience the outdoors, especially those children who had lost fathers during World War II. Also, in those days, parents worked hard, and many did not think activities outside school were very important at all, except maybe learning to play a musical instrument. They thought that clubs and sports were just something kids did to stay busy. Most parents thought it was just playtime. For these reasons, Vula's parents never went to any of her netball games on Saturday mornings or to any of Peter's football matches. Some parents did, but most were working. Anyway, the 7 children were together one day when Vula suggested how nice it would be to make their own club, and that's just what they did. Everyone had to give 5 cents to become a member, and the money would go into the club's piggy bank. After all, if they could save something today, they will have something tomorrow. After some talking, they decided Jimmy and John were too young to have any money and that they could be members of the club for free. Here is a little history and explanation about the club. 1. Vula wanted to call it the Peacock Club, but had to negotiate because the boys didn't like Vula's bossy leadership and decided not to become members. 2. Vula realised the club would not even start unless she had their support. So she told them it would be their club, asked Stephen Haddis to be the president, and asked them for their ideas for the club's name. 3. They voted, and because there were more boys, they finally decided on the Prince and Peacock Club. Prince was the family dog, and they wanted his name for the club. Woola pushed to get the J for justice, as she could see rules would be needed. She wanted the boys not to argue with her, to interest them and to show them that the club really was theirs. Woola wrote a logo using the letters J for justice, P for prince, and another P for peacock. 4. Still, they weren't very interested until she told them the club not only offered a library of books for members to borrow, but it could buy lollies for them and also lend them money from the piggy bank. Stephen borrowed 2 cents straight away, and one can understand why Woola introduced the oath of loyalty. She saw that his heart was a bit greedy for money rather than in the joy of being part of their club. 5. Rules included no violence at meetings, due to the boys always arguing and fighting with her. Children can learn a lot about politics and diplomacy when they form a club. Every club needs a constitution. So, an exercise book was decorated by the secretary, Woola, with some pink lolly foil and some silver chocolate foil because it was shiny and she thought it looked classy. The words were a bit squashy though, as there was not much room or planning of the layout. She did her best. On the pink foil, Woola wrote, JPP Club, Monday, 6th, 1st, 69. On the silver foil were the words Peacock JPP Club and the club's logo, JPP, followed by the secretary's initials, VL, to try to make the book look more official. Of course, every good club has rules and an oath, and these were written on the silver foil. Silver rules. No violence at meetings. Peter quite often liked to punch and fight. Kindness and respect to elders. Woola was the eldest. Oath. We hereby swear to abide by the rules and be forever loyal or pay the consequences. No consequences were explained, just the idea of them. Motto. Live and die, known by goodness without slander. Sometimes the boys said nasty things about the girls. Before computers, the names of library books were kept in filing cabinets in alphabetical order on little cards. Also, each library book had a little cardboard pocket pasted inside its back cover, with the details of the book written on a slip of cardboard kept inside that pocket. Woola busily stuck pockets and slips of paper into the back of each book that she and her brothers owned. She also made a pocket in the Peacock JPP Club exercise book for each member. The heading on the page is Library Roll in her fanciest writing. The library was now open for business. Late returns of books would probably be fined, and the money would go into the piggy bank if everyone cooperated and obeyed the rules, just like for real libraries. The club was now begun, and it was 6th January 1969. To make some more money for the Peacock JPP Club, the kids decided to knock on the doors of houses around the block and ask if anyone needed any small jobs done for a small payment of 10 or 20 cents. It was a bit scary, so they asked Adgiro if she could come with them. But she said it would be better for the kids to go all together for safety, and that people would be kinder to kids rather than to adults. Well, they knocked on quite a few doors, but either no one answered or they didn't want anything done at the moment. At the last house, at the corner of the block, Vulla knocked without much hope in her heart. She smiled politely at the serious-looking lady who answered the door. The lady wasn't interested in a bunch of hot-looking children who were in her front yard, and she frowned at Vulla. "Why are you knocking on my front door? It's rude." She spoke like an angry teacher. "You are not visitors, so the right thing to do is to knock on my side or back door, like the tradespeople." Vulla was shocked. She had heard of this sort of thing before, but had never thought it would be rude behaviour to knock on the front door. Vulla felt ashamed and apologised. As she turned to leave, the lady called after her and asked why she had come to her door. Vulla replied that they were trying to raise some money for their club by doing little jobs for neighbours around the block. The lady thought for a moment, and then, to the surprise of the boys, she asked if they knew how to mow her lawn with her hand mower. Peter and Steve Haddis jumped at the chance to work, saying they often mowed for their parents. This was quite true. The lady led them to the garage, and they returned with her mower. It was hard work, but the ground was level, and she had promised the two boys 20 cents each. While they were waiting, the girls and little boys did some weeding for free to show they were good workers and nice kids. They wanted to build a good name with their customers. When they became tired, they went home, but the two boys were still mowing, taking turns. However, no one can remember what the club bought with the money the lady paid them. Probably it was chocolates and lollies, as they had agreed when the club started. After this, the children found it difficult to find little jobs to do in the neighbourhood, so their money ran out. As happens in the real world, their business also died because they had no money to keep it going. Soon after that, the children lost their interest in the club, and they never did start any other club again. What a sad ending. Now, about the library, Vulla tried to get back the books the kids had borrowed when the library was first started. No one wanted to borrow any more books. After that, she just borrowed her own books and sometimes lent some to Peggy. That was all. Poor Vulla felt a bit foolish, and it had all been a lot of effort for nothing much. She felt it had been fun while it lasted, but also stressful, trying to keep everyone interested. It was amazing that adults could keep their clubs going for years and years.